Jimmy Fallon, The Unsinkable Legend, Part 1. Go. Boom.
Before we even click start, the title, The Unsinkable Legend. Are they implying that people have tried to sink Jimmy Fallon? I mean, I know we know what happens in this episode that relates to Unsinkable, but it has to mean more than just the vehicle, the boat. Who tried to sink Jimmy Fallon? He's been on a rocket ship to the moon his whole career.
Well, not necessarily referring to his career because he is, Jimmy Fallon himself cannot sink in this episode. You know why? Because he is in the Unsinkable Legend. So not only is the boat unsinkable, but so is Jimmy.
It's true. All right, let's see.
This is a 1956 Chevrolet Corvette convertible in Cascade Green with beige coves and interior.
I love this car. I love it. I love Corvettes. I love this Corvette. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It literally just hit me. I'm pretty sure that I had this car, this exact car. It was like a darker blue, but as like one of those, I don't know, like foot long, like heavy metal.
Like a die-cast model?
Yeah. That you just roll around.
It's
crazy.
It's just gorgeous. I'd like to add, I know I spent a little bit of time on our last episode, Jim Carrey, episode 1, talking about the music and how it kind of seems strange and odd and wacky and funky. And I didn't realize at that time that there is seemingly a new intro music for each guest and for each car. It's obviously not the same song. So
right.
I asked the question, and I doubt that Jerry has anything to do with the music choice, but is the music for the car or for the guest? Do they just pick some random? What do you think?
Like Jerry says, the car is for the guest, so the music can be for the car, for the guest.
It's the same
it's
thing.
Interchangeable. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Because now it makes sense.
Ross.
That kind of wacky, funky music. Well, guess who's a wacky, funky guy? Jim Carrey. Now I don't know what this classical, beautiful violin has to do with Jimmy Fallon, but I'll tell you, it works on the car, so I'm sold.
Oh yeah.
It is absolutely the essence of American futuristic.
I love that rear
of
view
the
mirror
post-war
placement.
Society at that time.
On the dash.
In the 1950s,
You got broad
people
shoulders, that
just
thing's
didn't
useless.
See anything that was bad. Thought this would be the perfect car.
See, now this
That
is some
car
Jimmy Fallon style
is my
music.
very special guest this week.
Yeah.
This is great.
The irrepressibly enjoyable host of NBC's Tonight Show, Mr. Jimmy Fallon.
So
When
Jimmy
you're
Fallon has
around
your
Jimmy,
uniform
you're
on.
having a good time. I don't care who you are.
Let me just say, I
love where you
Jimmy
paused this.
Fallon.
I'm sorry. He's perfect. First off, he trims his nose hairs very, very well.
Oh yeah. You think he trims his own nose hair? At what point? How famous do you have to get until you don't have to trim your own nose hair?
That's actually a really good point, because my knee-jerk response to that question was, oh my gosh, nobody pays someone to do their nose hair. But then you think, if you've got like a really good like hairstylist, right? Like you're paying big top dollar for them, you could assume they do the eyebrows as well. And then you could assume they're at the eyebrows, the nose is right there, you got a hair sticking out. They're not gonna just leave the hair there. They're gonna take the hair out, right?
Yes, except for, does he go pay for his own haircuts, or is that part of makeup? I would demand that. I'd be like, well,
but it would be someone who was,
if you,
but it'd be someone good. Like if he's gonna make a person who's doing his hair, then they're also gonna make sure that there's no nose hairs on TV.
right.
Huh?
I'm just saying, I'd be getting free haircuts.
Yes. Save every dollar I can. Free haircuts. Do you guys have a bath I can use? Water's kind of expensive in my place. Yeah, I completely agree. Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah,
what a character. Him. Yeah. He's
I just gotta say, and anybody that knows me is gonna be like, okay, of course, yeah. As soon as he became the Late Show host, I was like, that guy, he's gonna be number one. Because I actually like Jay Leno was always one of my favorites, and people are like, yeah, Jay's whatever. Then Jimmy came on the scene, and I'm like, Jimmy's gonna take Jay's spot. Just watch. And then this guy, because you could just see from the very beginning, his charisma and just likability, opposite of David Letterman. Yeah.
No, I appreciate them all. I like my boy Letterman. I also big Jay Leno fan, and I find actually Jay Leno's kind of a contentious character. Obviously, he was well liked by, he was #1, so obviously somebody liked him. But I find if you talk to younger people, Jay Leno never really like did it for him. You know, like his type of comedy just wasn't quite up their alley. It was a little more adult, more political.
I was gonna say the opposite. Well, you think so? Dry maybe, but I was gonna say he's much more. He doesn't go.
He makes more like sex jokes.
No,
yeah,
no,
totally.
I was gonna say he's much more family oriented in his speech than what most of our comedians that we listen to.
Yeah, fair enough. He was the everyman's man. That's what we'll label him as. You know, he got the blue jeans, the overalls. He's Jay Leno. He's just
very eccentric though, which I never do until
the episode. The guy has. Have you seen his vehicle collection? It's absolutely unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to visit it. When Jay Leno dies and they make a museum out of his garage, I can't wait to go. That's a prediction. You can quote me on this in 20 years when he dies. So, okay, here's my thing with Jimmy Fallon. I find he's just as contentious amongst my friends, family members. I mean, my family all loves him, and most people like him, but I also see a lot of people that, they're saying, he's so fake, he laughs at everything, this and that. But I genuinely think that's because Jimmy Fallon literally just enjoys life that much. He just has that much fun interacting with people. He's that goofy. I just love the guy.
He does. And the thing is, he's very polite. He has like great manners, and he, even if somebody like tells a joke that's not funny, Jimmy Fallon's the kind of person that's gonna laugh just out of respect of that person, because he's not, but
it doesn't sound like he's like forcing the laugh though. It's still a genuine, like, you can tell he really cares about he cares about his show, and he cares about the success of his show. And then also if he has someone on his show, I think he feels responsible for their kind of experience, and he's committed to it.
Honestly, a fake laugh I think is as commendable as a real laugh.
I don't know about that. Fair enough. Better than no laugh, maybe.
It makes people feel good.
Now, I heard a rumor.
Makes people feel great.
It's true, especially when I take my pants off.
All the girls laugh.
Exactly. Makes me feel real great. I've heard, this is a rumor, completely baseless, but interesting perhaps. I've heard that he's a really sore loser. You know how he like plays games on his show? I've heard that he absolutely hates to lose. And that's like the one time where he can like show a little bit of distaste, is he'll like go backstage and be upset that he lost to a guest in whatever like stupid game they're playing.
See, now that one I think is more put on than his laughter.
You think so? You think he pretends to be angry?
Absolutely.
I mean, if only we know. I will know. I met him in New York. I was quite young. I watched my mother give him a hug, and I've called him Dad ever since.
Is this like 2 truths and a lie?
I don't call him Dad, but no, we actually did. I was fairly young. I wasn't actually allowed to see the show, but he finished the show. He came out to the like the store area at 30 Rock and to meet the fans. He sang a song. I still remember. He had his guitar, and he sang "The Car Wash for Peace," which is just a hilarious song. I look it up. It's really enjoyable, quite funny. And then he did some meet and greets. Just really seems like a genuinely nice, caring guy. So
he is. And my dream, my life goal, before we go through the rest of this episode, just keep in mind, my goal is to tell Jimmy Fallon that I'll call him back. My life goal. If you have to tell Jimmy Fallon you'll call him back, you've made it.
So Jimmy, I gotta get back to you. I really gotta take this. Okay. Yeah. And then just hang up. Don't even be like, yeah, okay. I like it. You know, you could become his like his nurse, his male nurse, when he's like 80 years old, in bed, needs his diapers changed, and then you could just say, I'll call you back.
Sure.
You know what I'm going for with that one. All right, here we go.
Hello?
Jimmy,
Is this it?
we're gonna get coffee. The talk show that comes to your house and picks you up.
I love it. Is this it? It's like
Hi, I'm
they had
George
just been
Seinfeld,
on the phone,
and this is
and Jerry's like,
Comedians
okay,
in
I'm gonna
Cars
call you
Getting Coffee.
later, and that'll be like what we record for the show.
Yeah.
Is this
it?
Is this
You
it?
called me
Is it?
5 minutes
Make
ago.
you smile and want to have fun. An Aqua 56 Vet.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
This is just gorgeous. And the color. What happened with cars? Where did they stop making colors like this?
Why did people stop having fun? Why?
Why?
In
In
the
life.
larger sense of life.
We finished
why
each
did people
other's
stop having fun?
sandwiches?
Why did they stop buying trampolines?
But why don't they make fun colors in cars anymore?
Because I don't think cars are fun anymore. So like, if you put that color on a Prius, you look like a douche. Right? Like, you can still get some wild car colors if you're buying.
Isn't that what the first Prius color was? It was like
There you
that
go.
light blue.
And you look like a douche. There
That's
you
a
go.
bad example.
Case
bad,
proven.
Bad example.
Okay, so look in the background. You see the police officer standing next to that Honda Odyssey, or whatever that is? That car in blue, terrible. It would look terrible if it was that seashell color. It's because the car is so cool it can pull it off. It's like when Johnny Depp dresses just ridiculous, but nobody is like, man, that guy's a psycho. They're just like, yeah, it's Johnny Depp, man. Like, he can do whatever the hell he wants. But if Jude Law dressed like a total idiot, people go, what the hell's Jude Law doing? He looks like a fool. Put your suit back on. The car has to pull off the color. And cars nowadays, they just don't do it. They don't pull the color off. Car's too cool.
Fantastic thing.
Everybody used to have them in the 50s.
Oh my God. Are
Oh.
you kidding me?
That was so alpha.
Car's good, I'm good. Car's bad, I'm bad. That's the way I live. Because
The way he just revved the engine.
Oh.
It's like, there's no need to do that, but, and I don't think Jimmy's like particularly a car guy. Not that he just, he lives in New York. Who owns cars in New York? It's not really an easy thing to do. But it's like Jerry just being like, look at this toy.
Who asked him? Which episode was it when like they called Jerry out on it? Like when he starts the car, he revs the engine as he starts it, and the person's like, "Do you have to do that like for the car to start, or do you have to do that?"
That sounds like it would be Julia Louis.
It might have been. I
Dreyfus.
don't remember.
But I'm not sure. I'm sure when we get there, we can call back to episode 2. But yeah, he's just a kid. He's a kid in a toy shop with this car, having a good old time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they don't make them like this.
It doesn't even feel like a convertible.
I know.
It feels like a
set.
spaceship or something.
Yeah, it feels like we're on a set, and it's just like a fake screen next to you.
Right?
Right.
And I see it, but it doesn't.
I always find this interesting because this is like insider comedy. Like, how on earth would any regular person watching this know what it's like to be on a set in a pretend car with like a green screen? Nobody understands what that's like. And yet,
I think about that all the time. Every time I'm watching a show and I'm seeing a car scene, first I ask the question, is that a green screen or are they driving? Because
I don't know. Nowadays, it's impossible to tell. That's so good.
Well, they never used to actually drive. Now it's getting a little more common where you're gonna see it, but
yeah. Either way, I mean, like you can tell, and this is what I love so much about Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. It is just him talking to the comedian, and what we get is just like a nice little inside line on what an interaction between comedians, like Jerry specifically, and a comedian is like, because he's not making these jokes for us. He's making this joke for Jimmy.
It's a behind the scenes of a behind the scenes.
That's exactly right.
If
Watch
there's
Jerry's
another
hand.
comedian there, I'm immediately going right in the corner with the comedian, and I hang out, and I talk to the comedian the whole time.
Isn't that nice?
Did you see?
That was really cute. That was really, really cute. He reached over and gave him a little squeeze on the head.
I guarantee that's a Seinfeld antic that he started doing himself.
Yeah.
Because he found it endearing. Somebody did it to him.
Yeah.
He found it endearing, and he made it a point to start doing it throughout his life, and now it's natural.
Yeah, and that is a nice thing, like how often do you like reach out and just like touch? I don't want that to sound creepy, but like, you touch people, you hang out, but like to reach out and like physically like, here, you know what? I'll just.
Knocking on that fourth wall.
That gag never gets old. All right, I'm sorry. I just thought that was interesting. Little reach. Just give his wrist a squeeze.
You wouldn't buy Born to Run for $200,000 or something? No. Why not?
Because Bruce Springsteen wouldn't buy it for $200,000, and he's the one who wrote it.
He wrote it.
But why would he ask? Like, if he doesn't want it, what am I gonna do with it? If Bruce
You're doing me again.
I can't.
He doesn't want it.
He's the one who wrote Born to Run. He doesn't want it. Well, what am I gonna do? Now I'm stuck with it. It's not who wants it, it's who gets stuck with it. No, you take it.
That whole scene right there just shows how great Jimmy Fallon is as far as like just the question that Jerry asked him, like,
you know what he's so good at?
Anything like that? And he's like, no, I could care less.
And this is why he's such a successful host, and this is why he does well and why he gets people on his show, is he can sit down next to somebody, and I don't know if he has to change his personality or if his personality is just so enjoyable and flexible and malleable that he can just get along with anybody. Because it's like they're old friends, and I can't imagine they hang out particularly often, right? Like,
well, it's definitely a skill that both of them possess.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it seems so effortless for them. They're just having a good time.
But at the same time, put two comedians together, you'll usually make some magic.
Oh, for sure.
Put a comedian with a non-comedian, probably not gonna go too far.
This podcast is surviving.
I have to deal with it every day.
We don't know who's the comedian. We don't know who's the non-comedian. Maybe we do know, but we're not going to say because you might hurt my feelings.
Well, I already talked about the name of my second stand-up special, which, do you remember what it was?
I forgot, but I'm pretty sure that I created the name, so again.
Yeah,
what was it?
I'm stealing it from you. It was like, I hear...
Oh, I can't hear anything, but there is a commotion. Or no, I can't hear shit. I can't hear shit, but I can hear a commotion. That doesn't even make sense. I can't hear shit, but I can hear a commotion.
Well, no, it's the
coming
world.
to Netflix
it's
this
the
year.
World. It's like the news.
It's true. It's all just commotion.
Everybody's arguing. Yeah, you don't know what they're saying, but you hear them saying it.
Can I make an observation? Just because so. Looking at this car's headlights, nowadays everyone's got these fancy daylight running lights, LEDs everywhere, making cool shapes. They're gorgeous. They look so cool.
Love them.
Right?
Yes.
And before that, we had like really ugly, shitty halogens, like in reflector housings that are kind of ugly and plain looking, and they get all like smoky and gross and yellow and cracked. Then you have this, which is arguably like the older technology. Oh, it's older than halogen, or I don't even know what kind of light bulb that is, but that looks so good. It's so simple. It's just a circle with the lens, and that it looks good. It looks as good to me as like a fancy, crazy LED daytime running light. That's a good looking headlight. I wouldn't change it.
I mean, I'm sure this car was taken care of meticulously, immaculately. They probably removed the lenses and have cleaned them from the inside.
Of course. It's just the style alone. It's such a simple car, but it's so cool. Look at that mouth. Look at that big shark mouth it's got. So cool.
You just meet this guy and you go, hey, there's no wires holding this light bulb up, and there's no electricity to light it up. How is this floating? Oh, that's Jimmy Fallon. He's just excited to be here.
It's just so...
That's what I would have named the episode. Jimmy Fallon, just excited to be here. I
agree. What is it called? Yeah, the Unsinkable Legend. Not as good. You're right. Good choice. I love watching Jerry formulate a joke, like on the fly. So he made this statement like, "Oh, you were like a light bulb," and he like kind of looked and Jimmy was laughing. He's like, "Okay, this is working. I'm gonna keep hitting it. I'm not just gonna leave it there like most normal people would do and be like, oh yes, he laughed, sweet. Time to think of another one." He's like, no, now I'm gonna build on it. It's like there's no wire. He's suspended in the air. He's floating. Oh, what is that? Like he's literally creating a stand-up comedy just in that conversation with Jimmy. He's a genius.
Jerry is renowned. Goes down as one of the best comedians of all time, and he's known for how.
Did you leave your car running? Because you better go catch it.
Hey, that's my car! But no, he's so systematic in all of his jokes, and just like down to the word. Where some comedians, like, they'll be in interviews and they'll be asked how do they come up with their jokes, and they're just like, I don't know, I've got like a few topics that I just talk to the crowd about. And then Jerry's just the complete opposite. He will just write it over and over and over what does work and doesn't work, and like, I forget what episode, but he breaks down exactly with Neal. Neal, what's his face?
Gaff? No, not Gaffigan. That's Neal Diamond.
Yes.
Legendary
Neal
singer.
Diamond. That one.
Great episode.
But yeah.
We do not know what we're talking about.
Preparation. An opportunity means preparation.
What about this joke? Why are they putting pictures of the criminals on the walls of the post office? Why don't they hang on to this guy when they're taking his picture? Yeah. And then they go, it is fun.
Jerry loves that joke. I hate it. I hate that joke. I don't know why, but it's one of his favorites. It's just so stupid.
I mean, it's one of those jokes where, like, if you give it any thought, there's no logical, like, it obviously doesn't make sense, but it's funny. It's like, it's so funny. It's so simple. You're holding on to the guy. I don't mind it. I don't think it's his best work, but I don't mind it.
Cool old caddy. Oh, of course.
It's an original driver.
Yeah, original driver. It comes with original driver.
It's funny because you could say the same for the Corvette.
That's my boat, and that's my little truck. And I'm going to take you out on it right now.
He's not that old.
And I'm going to put it in the water myself.
So it's his boat. Where are they filming this? Like, they must be filming this, what, upstate New York? Or did they go to California? Where does Jerry live? I don't even know.
I bought it when I was doing my TV series in LA.
New York, yeah, license plate.
I found it relaxing.
See that?
To just get...
You know, this might be the thing. A boat. Is it hard to take?
He also just has to show off backing it up. So anyone else could have done this for him.
No, nothing. It's like a slide whistle. Anyone could buy one.
Oh, I love this. Oh, I'm so excited about this.
I love it. I love it. It's so good. So good.
The
So
reason
good.
I wanted to do it is because I know you watching me load this boat in the water.
There we go.
Make you laugh.
Which is the second stage of comedy.
Physical. Making your friends laugh.
Nope. Jerry says for the first stage of comedy, the first level of comedy
You make your friends laugh.
Making your friends laugh. Second stage is making strangers laugh.
Yeah.
Third stage, then he says third stage is where I'm at, where other people try to talk like you. But yeah, first level comedy here.
All right, I'll turn around with this boat.
You know, though, right after they turned the cameras off, he said, "Who made me turn down that way? I want his head. I want his ass. He's fired. Get him out of here. You embarrass me in front of Jimmy Fallon." Or he said, "Okay, I'll turn around." And
Jerry
it's
doesn't,
hilarious.
he doesn't care about anything.
I'll turn around with this boat.
This is math and angles and geometry, and so is comedy, by the way. And proofs. Remember writing proofs?
Yeah, of course.
That's stand-up. Why are the Raisin Bran people constantly telling us about the scoops? That's my premise. Now we got more scoops, bigger scoops, longer scoops. All raisins, one flake. We don't like the cereal. It doesn't matter how many scoops.
I hate commercials in all advertisements for this reason. I yell at the TV and I'm like, Hulu, if you can hear me right now, stop showing me this commercial because it sucks.
I mean, 2 scoops. I think he could have continued on the joke. He could have said, "We don't like the cereal. We don't want the cereal. We want the raisins. Give me 2 scoops of bran."
You know, honestly, out of all the things that come in it, nobody really wants any of those three things.
I like raisin bread. I think it's okay. Makes me feel healthy. Good source of
you
fiber.
think it's okay. You think it's okay. You eat it because you might have to. Old people definitely eat it because they have to.
You're not wrong.
But when you hear a commercial over and over and over and over, do you remember any specific ones from your childhood?
Okay, so there was a radio ad. This will not be relevant to you at all because it's a Canadian thing, but there's a company called Sleep Country, Canada division, and their motto was "Sleep Country, Canada. Why buy a mattress anywhere else?" And I heard that ad every single day for like 10 years. It became there was a joke. Kids would go, "Sleep Country, Canada. why buy a mattress when you can sleep on the couch? It was so like ingrained in, and what a ridiculous ad. Like who, is this so that when I'm like, oh, fuck, I need a mattress. Why would I go anywhere else? I'm going to Sleep Country. No.
We had a mattress store in Indiana. It was on Goshen Road. If you're not on Goshen Road, it was this just big fat white guy and his like family. If you're not on Goshen Road, you're in the wrong place.
Okay.
I hate Goshen
Terrible.
Road now.
I will never go to Goshen.
I will
never
avoid
buying a mattress
Goshen
from
Road
you.
at all costs.
See, and then another competitor made one, and he said, this is our mattress place. Just so you know, we're not on Goshen Road. However, if you are trying to get here, please be assured you are in the right place. Once again, we are located off of Goshen Road. We are not on Goshen Road. You are not in the wrong place.
You're in the right place. Do you remember Nickelodeon, though?
Okay, sure.
So
maybe.
many that I'm pretty sure Baja Men, I heard that commercial as a child for Baja Men more than any other commercial. And I don't even remember what it was for. I just remember it was like Baja Men on spring break. You could buy a song along with like Tebow, the fighting thing. Remember Tebow? No?
No.
You didn't see
Socialism
Tebow
won.
in school?
We don't have.
We learned-
Tybo.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Tybo with
Tebow,
Billy
yeah.
Blanks, right? With his,
Yeah.
he would always have one nipple that would slip out about halfway through.
Yeah, that commercial
yeah.
as well. Saw it every day. Yeah.
Tybo. My whole point of this. So his argument is that comedy is like math.
Yeah.
You make a ridiculous statement, and then you prove it.
I can't believe that we keep buying new and improved. This new Mr. Clean, new and improved. What was the swill that we were buying when you originally invented Mr. Clean? What was that crap?
I found that funny. It's a simple joke. It's one of those things that's not particularly funny, but just Jimmy Fallon is such an enjoyable human being that like it's just nice to hear. It's just funny. It's just a funny observation. It doesn't really make any sense.
Jimmy Fallon could be a fantastic comedian. Like I think right now, if he went the comedian route,
like did a special or
he'd be
something.
He'd be very close to John Mulaney. Which, I mean, they're already in a very similar industry.
Well, they are similar, right? And I love John Mulaney's episode on
Yeah.
comedians and cars. That's actually one of my favorites. And I can't wait to just rip his wife apart for not liking the rug they buy. But that's a whole nother thing we'll talk about.
I love how nervous he is picking him out. And Jerry's like, "Come on, it's a rug."
I don't care that you're lying to us in the ad and that the product stinks. Because when I'm watching the commercial and you say it's great, I'm happy then. And when I go to get it, I'm happy. And when I get it home, I'm happy. And then I try and use it, it doesn't do it. And I'm okay. Because then I'll watch another commercial.
You still got a lot out of it.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good.
That's a
You're
really
making us
nice
pretty
outlook.
happy. Because we're getting moments of happiness, and that's all I want.
Do you think advertising will
just now and
eventually stop?
I think it just evolves. I don't think it'll ever stop. Advertising is like the world's biggest business right now.
Yeah, well, it is. I know it is. And that's the thing, is that we are less, our generation, I guess, getting less and less apt to take the word of any advertisement that we see on TV. Actually, a lot of times will turn us away from something that we see advertised heavily.
You're right, which is why we don't receive we're not targeted by television anymore. We're targeted by Instagram models and by like weird coupon links that appear in our emails and guerrilla marketing tactics that we don't even realize we're being advertised to anymore. And that's the way it's gonna go. And now eventually it's gonna be like your brain chip is gonna like start warming up and you're gonna be like, man, I could really go for some Windex right now. What that? Why am I thinking of Windex? Because they're uploading it straight to your brain.
It's a lot of happy though. Like now.
See, this is my strategy. Is I just click play. You agreed with me, and if I hit play fast enough, then you can't formulate your own opinion that is different than mine.
They break up the drug commercials with ads for law firms to help you sue for the drugs you took last year. That's the only relief.
Do you ever get thirsty? And you go, I guess I've been thirsty before.
I saw a commercial last week for schizophrenia medication.
That would probably weird you out if you had schizophrenia. Okay, there you go. When you lean forward, The light of God is shined upon your face. Oh. I wonder if they'd be like, the voices again. They're telling me that there's medication now.
No, I think that's scary. It was disturbing.
Do you think it's that common of a thing? I wonder how many people have schizophrenia?
No, it's not, and that's the thing. How many people are?
I think you're imagining it. That commercial never existed. You're imagining it.
But no, how many people are gonna start saying, "Well, I've got those symptoms, and gonna go to the doctor and check it out. I don't know. I think I might have schizophrenia." For all these people that don't have schizophrenia now are taking the schizophrenia medication, what's gonna start happening?
They're gonna be even more associated, because that's the opposite of disassociated. Associated. And
there are studies, nothing conclusive, but that cannabis possibly might have a slight causational effect on people getting schizophrenia.
Now, is that? I know this isn't a cannabis review podcast, but is that like cannabis use amongst children that affects like them developmentally, or just cannabis use in general, like amongst adults?
In general.
Wow.
So the answer may be that for people who have some type of gene where they're more likely to have schizophrenia somewhere later in life, but it may never actually be exposed. But if they start smoking, then that triggers that dormant gene.
Wow. Amazing. What if I had a gene in me that makes me a superhero, and by doing meth, I activate it. I become stronger, faster, smarter.
Ross, you're already the strongest, fastest, smartest person I know.
In this room, at the very least.
Hey, we're in the same room.
I know.
Are we?
Because
you're not a Ross.
Now you're torn because
you're not a Ross. You'll thank me later.
I'm pretty sure I'm a Ross.
Oh, really?
Ross, for now.
Do I need this? How am I living my life without this? Do you ever wake up in the morning?
Yes.
Rocket Man?
That's a really good joke. I didn't even realize how funny that is. It's so he just slips it in.
That is good. Does that get cut out later? Was there actually something after that, or that was the whole joke?
I think that's it. I think that's the whole thing. You ever wake up in the morning?
Here's the fun thing about a Land Rover. You go anywhere you want with it. Oh, we witnessed saying it. I love how everything's done with looks.
Well, I love that he's looking at us like we're weird. What's going on? The guy's attached to ropes. Couldn't be more awkward. We're weird?
This is Jimmy Fallon delivering Jerry Seinfeld humor.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't actually know what Jimmy Fallon's style of humor is, because it's usually so written and prepared right on his show that he's like doing his monologue, he's interacting with people. But this is him literally doing Jerry Seinfeld's like observational humor. He's got ropes. He's attached to ropes, and we're the weird ones. Hilarious.
It's not who wants it, and who gets stuck with it.
This is a great relaxing day. Unbelievable.
The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off my pants.
See, I knew it was going to get weird. I just didn't know how weird. Here it is right here. It's Jerry Seinfeld taking his pants off.
So look at the colorful shorts I have on.
Jerry Seinfeld woke up, put on his bathing suit, and then put on his jeans. And he probably did a little look in the mirror like, do you think he'll be able to tell? Because it's a surprise.
Have you ever worn a bathing suit under jeans?
It's not comfortable.
No, it is absolutely
not. It's bulky, and that's not like a modern, like, low cut kind of snug bathing suit. That's like those are board shorts. and he's probably wearing boxers underneath those.
Every second that you have those on, you are thinking about how you have these on because it's so uncomfortable.
It's terrible.
So now what do you do?
Exactly. Now what do I do?
I don't understand how one man does this. You were wondering when he's gonna crack. This is it. Jerry Seinfeld's lost his mind, officially. He's a lunatic out there. He's wearing comedy shorts.
All right, I've unclamped the boat. What do you think?
It makes me feel alive. This is great.
Jimmy's actually thinking, how the hell do I get in? Okay, he's like, because I did not bring my bathing suit. He's got his
Like, I
pants
haven't
rolled
had
up.
the chance to do anything like this in years. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Look, there's so much crew. That's actually, we should
Wait,
look at that
skeleton
again.
crew? Yeah, right.
That was a ridiculous amount of people. Maybe it's just
It was.
locals. We can probably decipher
yeah.
here. So that's a filming boat on the left.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot of, and here's what, okay, so observation. The crew
Yeah.
loves Jimmy Fallon. He's like friends with them. He's waving at them. They're having a good time. You know, like, I could see most people being like, okay, we're on the boat. Let's get the hell out of here. Not like, oh, bye guys. I'll miss you. I'll see you when we're back. It's like, he's already, and they're all waving back at him. It's great. It's beautiful.
Well, that's definitely crew, right?
Yeah, it has to be. They're right next to the car.
I think they're not celebrating for Jimmy as a fan. They're all celebrating together because they got this.
Yeah, but they're
boat
just like,
hit.
well, I mean, it seems like a pretty linear process. You just back the boat in, detach it.
It was definitely a process because he went over that curb, then had to back out, freaking floor it with the boat still attached, which is nearly impossible without jackknifing.
Well, he's an absolute genius of a driver. It's
Is
all
that a
math,
second?
Cole.
Is that a second boat on the right?
Yeah, that's a.
Filming boat?
Oh, well, the boat on the left for sure is filming because I can see
Yeah.
a man holding a camera.
But
No, on the
right one is the same
there's no
kind
one,
of boat.
but there's no one in it. It is the same kind of boat. You're right.
This has got to be the most expensive episode. Now that I'm thinking about it, what other episode would he have double?
They'd
the
have
amount
to
of crew?
rent boats, tons of crew.
No, yes.
Someone had to transport those vehicles to the location while he was with. Yeah, probably. There's probably information on what each episode cost.
Do we know what lake this is?
I have no idea. We don't even know where this is. It must be northern, like upstate New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the Catskills.
Nice word. He's an upstate. I wouldn't know what to call upstate British Columbia.
Up province. We actually call northern. That's why I said northern
Right.
New York,
You
and I
have
was
your
like, wait,
yeah,
that doesn't make
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, I didn't know
Upstate.
that you call it northern.
Yeah.
Everybody
So it'd be
got
like
their
northern Alberta, northern
Uh-huh.
British Columbia, northern Saskatchewan.
Oh, so not even just northern.
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 Oh my god, they are moving. I really wish he fell in. I'm pretty sure I saw a meme of it somewhere, but it was like, can white people ever get on a boat without doing the I'm king of the world? Is it possible? I don't think it's possible. I also, we definitely missed a really great opportunity where as they're pulling up on the water, we should have done, that's the lake. No, the computer knows where it's going. That's the lake. The computer's going, that's Michael, that's the lake.
Do you think, so he's talking about how meticulous he is with jokes. Do you think he stands over the shoulder of the people making these episodes, like the post-production, editing? He obviously told them he wants this song in there. Do you think he was like, I got to make sure that they get the right song, and he's there just like, what?
So I think Jerry right now really values his like personal time, his like freedom. So I think he does all this work, they film the whole thing, and then he forgets about it. And they say, Mr. Seinfeld, here's a draft. Would you like to see what we've put together? And he goes through it with a red pen and goes, no. Sends it back. Sends it back. They fix it, but I don't think he's like in the editing room on top of it. Like, I don't think he's past that part of his life. I think he just wants to, he's filming this because it's fun and he likes interacting with these people. I don't think he wants to do it for work. It's like a pet project, you know?
You are 100% right.
But I definitely wouldn't doubt that whoever's editing this gets like has to do 5 or 6 revisions based off of feedback from Jerry, and Jerry's team will be like, no, Jerry didn't like this. No, you need to change that. No, Jerry doesn't like the pacing here. Yeah.
Can you
Jerry doesn't like the
imagine,
music.
Can you imagine? You're right. He started doing this kind of just as a fun project, I think. And how it turned into how much money he got for this.
It's just. I mean,
I'm not gonna release that prelude, but I'll say the 2 numbers right now. Each episode costs about 100.
You said about 100,000, right?
Yeah, $100,000 to make each episode. They were 72 episodes, So $720,000 it cost to make these episodes, and then Netflix bought it for $100
$7.2 million.
million.
$7.2 million.
Yes.
Not $720,000.
Correct. Correct.
Still, big
Still.
profit.
Ew. 93% profit margin. Netflix bought it for $100 million.
And keep in mind, he had already been making money off it on Crave. Like, Crave didn't get that for free.
Crackle?
Crackle. Yeah. Crave's a Canadian thing.
Yes, to all the viewers. Comedians and Cars Getting Coffee was on Crackle.
I'm going to stop you there, and I'm going to say to all the viewers who definitely skipped the prelude, even though you said don't skip the prelude.
I'm not putting the prelude on.
Well, you have to put the prelude on.
Yeah.
The prelude was amazing. Watch the prelude. It's good. He did a really good job. I had no part in it.
It's not going to be there, so they can't watch it.
If it's not there, then it's going to come out to the first person who sends us $1 million in a Swiss bank account, tax-free, every year for life. You get the prelude.
All right, I'll do it.
No,
Sold.
this is unbelievable. This is so fun. I had no
So
idea
good, so
that
fun.
This is going to happen all today.
So great,
This is
so great.
fun. Come on.
It's interesting that he spent enough time with Jimmy Fallon. I guess what it is they haven't even had their coffee yet. He just likes Jimmy enough that he wanted to actually go do something fun with him rather than like, let's go get coffee and then get the hell out of here, you know?
I think he wanted to show Jimmy how proud of him he is.
That's really sweet. Oh my gosh.
One comedian to
Things
another.
my dad never said to me for 400, please, Alex.
He's got to be proud. I would be proud. I would be pulling for him, and then he gets there, and good job, son.
It's cool. It seems like an interesting take because normally I think Jimmy or Jerry likes having the option of we get in the car, we go for coffee, and then if I'm content with how this went and I don't think I'm gonna get much more out of it, sweet, we can end it. Or like for instance in this episode of John Mulaney, sweet, now we can go do something else. Like for John Mulaney, it may have even been like, man, I had a really good time. I don't want to stop hanging out. Like, let's go do something else. Let's go buy your wife a carpet she's gonna hate. But it's like I think he went into this knowing that he likes Jimmy Fallon so much that he's gonna spend the day. Like this is committing more than the day, like start to finish, to go out on a boat.
Oh yeah,
and
this was planned. This was
course.
planned. Sometimes things will happen on the fly. Like say if you're with Joe Rogan, you know that he likes you a lot if you guys go out for steak afterwards.
Oh yeah.
If you don't,
oh yeah, he maybe don't like you so much. Yeah. He's like, sorry, I normally would go for steak, but I really need to get into my isolation pod. My sensory deprivation tank, I just need to disconnect. It's great. And you know what's interesting as well is we don't actually see, I mean, how much boat time do we get in the start of the second episode? I don't actually remember off the top of my head. We get like 3 more minutes of boat time before they go for coffee. So like they obviously spent more than 5 minutes total on the water. And there's a lot of that we just don't get to see, which is, I mean, what do you think? They're out there for an hour for just a fun 20 minutes? Like for all the effort, they must have been out there for a while.
Enough. Well, I don't know. Get your film and get out.
I don't think so. I think that they just went and had fun.
Yeah, I think
and
so
like
too.
messed around for an hour, and none of that made it to us because it was.
And if anybody knows better, it's Jerry, and that's why another reason I think he's doing this. He knows that Jimmy has not gotten to do anything like this for a while because
he's busy.
Right, and Jerry's been there, and he knows what it's like, and he's like, I'm going to take you out for some real fun today.
It's so nice. I love it. It's so nice. And just the amount of foresight and effort to be like, you got to get my Range Rover there, I got to get my boat out of storage, got to pick the right lake, got to get it to the lake, got to put my bathing suit on underneath my jeans, wear it like that for hours all day. It's just really nice. I'm glad to see that he seems to really enjoy his
And
time.
I like how it was a surprise for Jimmy, because he was expecting, I think, to have coffee right away. And if you could tell, like in the first episode, in the first part, he had just woken up. When Jerry came and picked him up, he just woke up. No, like in the car, you can see it like in his eyes. Like
He's
his
a little
eyes.
tired. Well, even his hair's not like done. He's not in like
Yeah.
he's not in like TV mode. You know,
You can
it's
hear
like
his
this is my
voice.
day off, and I cannot. He got every hour of
Yeah.
sleep he could get.
Oh yeah.
It was a great episode.
He's like, how much longer till we get coffee?
I'm
No,
I'm
this
looking
is
forward
exciting enough, I'm sure.
to us putting together part 2. Gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna take us another 6 hours of work, I think, to get this up and running. This podcast, it is running like clockwork. We sit down, we turn it on, we bang out an episode, 30 minutes, wham bam, and we're done.
Are you walking out on me?
Oh, I'm walking out on you. You got time for another 17 minutes?
I invented the "it's not you, it's me."
You're a crazy, crazy
If
man.
anybody, I'm walking out on you.
I got hand. You want hand? I got hand. Yeah, it's unfortunately way past my bedtime. Here in Canada, we operate on Northern Polar Bear standard, which means that it's currently 7:20 p.m., which means time to go cut down firewood so that I can survive the long cold night.
All right, so we're ending it right here. We're picking up for part 2.
We're gonna pick up for part 2. We're gonna wear the
All
exact
right.
same clothes. No one's gonna be the wiser.
No, this is
we
the only
just told
shirt I
them.
have.
Okay, Jack Reacher. That's a slightly niche reference, but if you've seen the movie, that's a scene. Yeah, I think it turned out really well. And I'm looking here at my recording software, and I'm very pleased to see that I did not accidentally stop recording 10 minutes into the podcast, which is gold.
I'm so glad.
As much as I'd love to do this all over again. Thank you for watching. Tune in to episode 3, Jimmy Fallon, The Unsinkable Legend Part 2. It will be out right behind this one, so just click next, wham, bam, click download. We might even stitch them together. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. Either way, thanks for joining us on
Comedians
In Cars
getting coffee
podcast. Yeah.
Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee podcast is not endorsed by Columbus 81 Productions, Sony Pictures Television, or Netflix, and is intended for information and entertainment purposes only. The official Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee show can be found at netflix.com/title/80171362. Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, the Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee logo, and all names, pictures, and audio of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee characters are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Sony Pictures Television, Netflix, or their respective trademark and copyright.